I've always been interested in water and rivers and streams and how people react to those. My son was always fascinated with the river. We were fascinated with the river. And we sort of grew into it. It sort of flowed into us, if you will. We just integrated the river into our lives. And we got more and more comfortable with it. And as we got closer to it physically and mentally, we got closer to it emotionally. And as you get closer to something emotionally, the more dedicated you are to protect it. You don't think about what something like Tropical Storm Irene can do until you see it happen. Tropical Storm Irene was a real wake-up call. A lot of people who always said, oh, that water will never come that high. It would take billions of gallons of water to come up that high. It did, and it will again. And we know that, I know that, everybody knows it. It's just, what are we going to do about it? When people or property or anything else is too close to the river will take it away. It just will. During Tropical Storm Irene, the river road that I live on was turned into what I said it would be closer to a hiking trail in Maine if you were to just look at the pictures. The road is built right along the river, and it's built up against a mountain on one side and the river on the other side. And when the river came up and came over the road, every place it came up over the road, it simply scoured it out. When it was done, we couldn't move south and we couldn't move north. We couldn't get cars out. We could barely get a bicycle. And not riding a bike, you could barely push a bike. Most of the flooding in Vermont, and particularly Green River Village, was not done by houses being flooded. It's done by things being too close to the rivers or too close to the streams. They get undermined and they fall in. And the erosion side of things, there's a certain amount of space that a river needs to meander, the river corridor. So one of the things that Guilford is looking at right now is a river corridor bylaw, and that's the short term for it. It's really a fluvial erosion bylaw. I would say for any floodplain administrator who's in a town that is even marginally thinking about adopting a river corridor or a fluvial erosion bylaw, if you contact your regional planning commission or the Agency of Natural Resources and you say, we're interested in exploring the possibility of adopting a river corridor bylaw, they will help you from start to finish.
River corridor bylaw presentation. Steve Lemke and Alyssa Cepeda.
2 years ago, we started talking to the Wyndham Regional Planning Commission, and people there came with me to select board meetings. So what I did is I worked with Wyndham Regional, I worked with A&R, we collected information, drafted the bylaw, and we brought it to the select board and virtually went over it with them section by section. You need to have the select board. They don't necessarily need to agree to adopt it, but they have to believe it's worth pursuing to come to a conclusion of whether they should or should not adopt it. It has to be for all the right reasons. We need to sort of chat with people a little bit to
just get a sense.
Can I show you a map that has the watershed, the agenda? I don't know. So I can tell you as a floodplain administrator, if you have a problem that you want to solve and a project that you want to undertake, identify everybody for whom it's important. Whether it's a town, a select board, a resident, find those people that the project matters to and enlist their aid. And you'll get it done. You will get it done. The town of Guilford is fortunate enough to have a small town newspaper called the Guilford Gazette. So what we said is the first public announcement of this will be in the November Guilford Gazette. It's had a little 4x6 postcard, and we sent that to a list of 461 property owners. It says, our records show you own property in Guilford that is in a flood hazard area. And we invite you to either go to the website and get to see the bylaw, see the FAQs, and come to a public meeting on November 29th at the school for a presentation on the bylaw. And at that point, the select board will be taking public opinion. Before the public meeting, people were concerned that there would be a lot of people who, for good reason, would show up and be not in favor of this. We were saying, come and hear why your property that's located in a flood hazard area is going to get regulated, right? So what would you expect, right? So we started out by saying, we're going to go back in history, and we're going to give you the background for where Guilford has been, where Guilford is, and where Guilford's going, as it relates to bylaws, where it relates to interacting with streams and rivers. We're going to boil that down tonight so that you can understand exactly what we're talking about. it's this delicate balance of protecting people and property and town resources